press, because there was press for everywhere.
Right.
And with Dr. King, the sheriff's office was handling all of that, so that made it a lot easier from that standpoint. With Presley, it was a different thing, because then it was just us. And we had people coming out of the woodwork, trying to get stories, trying to get a scoop, trying to get this, trying to get that, whatever. But in both cases, the biggest problem was dealing with the press and the public, because everybody was interested, everybody was concerned.
They want to know,
Trying to get information. And if they didn't get it, they'd make it up. I thought, from the legal standpoint, Dr. King's murder was handled probably pretty well. At that time, the state law was not very clear about where the authority to do an autopsy came from. So we felt important that we talked to Miss King to explain to her what the situation was and why we needed to do the autopsy, and to get her permission to do the autopsy. And that happened that night. She was in Atlanta, and we talked to her on telephone. And everything from the initial standpoint was completed by about 9 o'clock. Body was released to the funeral home. And from that point on, it was just a question of dealing with the legal system. And he had all sorts of attorneys coming from all sorts of places. And the Attorney General decided that to get a death penalty, it would be, number one, a little more difficult, but number two, because of the appeal process, it would take decades before anything would definitive happen, because there would be an appeal for this, an appeal for that. So he said our best approach is 99 years with no parole. And that's where it came about. He pled guilty to that. And of course he was an escape artist, and they put him in a place called Brushy Mountain, which is kind of a wilderness part of eastern Tennessee.
Out there by Knoxville.
Even if you escape, everybody knows that it's a stranger. So there's no way you're going to get away from it. And he did finally get out one time, but stayed out about 24 hours, and they caught him, put him back in prison.
I want to know, how did he actually die? Because
It was a heart attack.
Heart attack, okay.
And he probably was dead at the time the unit got to him.
Okay.
But because they felt a responsibility to resuscitate, they tried to resuscitate. It was just never successful, but they kept trying.
Right.
Until finally the doctor, Dr. Dick, when he got there, finally said, we got transport, but he was pronounced dead after we got to the hospital. So he was probably dead before anybody started working. So, because he was on the commode, that probably was called a vagal response.
Right.
And by straining, what happens is your heart quits on you. And that's probably what happened. Because he apparently fell off. It was on the floor. When it's down, your first reaction is to, let's try to resuscitate. And that's the way the fire department is trained. But Dr. King was, for all practical purposes, dead by the time he hit the floor.
Yeah. The balcony of the motel?
Because it severed the spine.
Yeah.
And you're not going to survive that. So they also made an attempt to resuscitate, but it just was not possible.
Because I know hit that carotid artery.
Well, it was not the carotid, it was the spine.
The spine, I got you.
It went in right here, and then past the back here, and so it goes through what's called the cervical spine, which controls respiration, heartbeat, and everything. So for all practical purposes, he was dead at that time.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult time for a lot of people, the family especially, because they found it hard to believe that a nobody could really end up killing him.
Yeah.
But that nobody had been tracking him for at least 6 months, maybe a year, following him everywhere he went. And he finally got the opportunity to do what he did.
So like when you think about Elvis, I know it was there's a lot of press behind Elvis.
Oh yes. Let's say he lived an interesting life.
Yeah.
And he was an experimenter. Apparently there was one time that there was an advertisement for a drug that kept your perspiration from stinking. And he bought that. He did that a lot of times. But he did not take amphetamines or sleeping pills or things like that. So he was not, quote, a drug addict in any shape or form.
Yeah.
Now, Geraldo Rivera has a different opinion. He said he did. But that was his opinion.
Yeah.
That's not what's on his death certificate. It's hard to know what's on his death certificate.
So do you feel as your career as a doctor, taking on you call them the two kings?
Well, it was a very interesting career because it gave me the opportunity to study disease, to find out why disease happens, what its result is, and gave me an insight into these diseases that I would never have gotten any other way. And it was a very exciting career. And obviously all this publicity was memorable.
Yeah.
And that's where people remember it, but that was not why I was in it. I was there because it was an opportunity to study disease in an attempt to add some knowledge to the treatment of disease.
So when did you retire?
Oh, 99.
99?
Yeah.
So that year
I
that's...
haven't done liquor work since.
Yes, sir.
My son-in-law told me I needed to get an office, kind of do this gradually. And I told him, I said, I believe I can take lazy awfully well. And I've proven that correct.
So like, when did you begin your work in the field?
Well, it was almost by accident. After I finished medical school, I did an internship at the John Gaston Hospital, which was a year. And I wanted to specialize, but every specialty I dealt with, and the rotating internship exposed me to medicine, surgery, OBGYN, pediatrics, just all of the specialties. And it turned out that every field caused me to give up something I liked to study. And the only field I could find that didn't cause me to give up something was pathology. So I started a residency in pathology at the University of Tennessee. Now at that time, military service was mandatory. And you either volunteered or you were drafted, one or the other. And the Naval Hospital, which was a minor league of naval hospitals, pathologists were in short supply, and they would take about anything. Well, I had 2 years of training after medical school as a pathologist, so I joined the Navy and they assigned me to Millington, and I spent my whole career, 2 years, right there. Didn't get on a boat anywhere. Didn't see the oceans anytime. Always inland and naval. Millington.
In the Navy?
In the Navy.
Okay.
And after that, I kept my appointment at the university. I was called an assistant instructor. Now, there wasn't any such title. But my chairman wanted all of his residents to have a university title, so he called them assistant instructors. So when I left the Navy, I came back to UT, finished my training, and at that time, he just completed a contract with county government to provide pathology services to all law enforcement in Shelby County. But he'd also fired the person that was supposed to fulfill the terms of that contract because he held a overnight oral examination for the medical class, kept them all up all night answering questions for this exam. And the president of the university thought that was just above and beyond the call of duty and told him to fire him. Well, he'd always caused several problems, so he fired him. So he had a contract he had to fulfill. He didn't have anybody to do it. I came back from the Navy. He said, Franscisco, do you think you could deal with this? Well, I'd had a little experience with forensic in the Navy, so I said, yeah, I think I can. So that's where I got involved. Now, at that time, I was called a coroner's physician, so that it was my job to give to the coroner the terms that were to be on the death certificate. And one day, the chairman of the health department called me up and said, Franscisco, we've got to do something. I said, why? What happened? He said, you know what he put down on this death certificate? I said, what? He put down subdural hemorrhoid. It was a subdural hematoma, but he just didn't understand what I said, so he wrote the wrong thing. So they kind of changed the rules. It was up to me to sign death certificates. And I began looking into it, and there was a national organization that had proposed a model law called the medical examiner law. At that time, we had a coroner because our Constitution called for that. No medical training, just an elected position. And it was his job to sign death certificates when there's no doctor around. So this model law created what's called a medical examiner system so that the person who does this has got at least an MD degree. So I suggested it to the chairman. He started talking to the district attorney general, medical society, the local bar association, the state medical society, state bar. Proposed it to the legislature. The legislature passed it. That was in 1961. And I was the first medical examiner for Shelby County. Every county in Tennessee had a medical examiner. I think it's 94 counties, 94 medical examiners. But I was Shelby County. So that's how I got involved.